Speak now to political analyst Ongama Mtimka. Ongama, do you believe that the ANC NEC made the right decision, bearing in mind that the judicial review process raises some serious questions about how this report was put together?
I certainly couldn't hear the rationale as Paul was explaining it, and I've been working all day today. But here's the thing about their intended not supporting the motion in Parliament. It's okay if the party intends to deal with the issue of the continued leadership of President Cyril Ramaphosa in the short term and almost immediately. You don't want to do what happened in Tshwane recently, where you find that before there's a solid plan for, providing or resolving a leadership impasse, people act to recall, for example, as what happened in Tshwane, where Mayor Campbell was removed, or only to find that there wasn't a plan to make sure that a new government, a new mayoral leadership of the city of Tshwane is constituted within reasonable time. So in this instance, you have the conference of the party coming in 2 weeks' time to precipitate some instability in Parliament, while you are so close to an outcome of a conference that may end up frustrating the very process, would not have been wise. But I'm saying that circumspectly, Sal, because I'm also among the people who feel that President Cyril Ramaphosa should be held accountable for the Phala scandal. And my view is that there was always enough detail in the public domain to deal with it politically at the level of the party and at the level of the National Assembly. It's even more so now that you've had a quasi-judicial process look into the matter and raise an opinion that the president may, in fact, have committed some of the offenses that are alleged. So my view is that even when that information surfaced in the first place, there was just no way possession of foreign currency in the numbers that it was could be explained in the way that the president did. And indeed, the holes in his evidence were shown by the panel, even before the section in the document that deals with what their recommendations are.
It's interesting, the holes in the panel, and just having read through a part of the affidavit, seems to be suggesting that this independent panel strayed beyond its mandate. And the president, in his answers, was very specific that he only responded relating to those 4 charges. And I think the suggestion there is that any holes are because it was not directly linked to the mandate of this panel. But you're right, there are still many unanswered questions. Also, there are still many probes and investigations into this matter. The ANC Integrity Commission has not made a finding against him. The point was raised by a journalist at the briefing. What happens if your own Integrity Commission finds against the president when you, as the NEC, have supported his judicial review and argued that your MPs need to stand against this? It is a very complicated matter. What is your... Sorry, continue, yes.
Yeah, I think tomorrow for me should be seen more in a tactical sense than really a position of principle. And the judicial review gives some way of escape to the NEC, where in fact the argument for not voting for that adoption and setting in process the impeachment process is in fact a political decision. And I think that it's a tactical decision that makes sense for now, only because of the complexity of making decisions of this nature so close to an ANC conference. And the reason why I'm comfortable making that line of argument, notwithstanding my calls for the president to resign from when the scandal first surfaced, is purely on the basis that we are in a party-based system and the ANC is the majority in parliament. What happens if the NEC that emerges from the conference is significantly different from the one whose members are in the National Assembly? It's going to make things too complex to manage, even resulting in a degree of instability that we cannot tolerate as a country. So my view is that allow the ANC to go down this route into its own decision-making processes, because our system is party-centric by design. And then nothing stops this process to be resumed early next year after the ANC conference. Anything at this stage, in my view, it was not sound from a governance point of view, even though technically the institutions of parliament and the majority party are separate.
Do you think that with this decision by the ANC NEC today, and with ANC parliamentarians, they're going to be instructed to vote against the report, from a parliamentary point of view, is this report essentially dead in the water?
Well, it would be. We remember that when the Speaker of Parliament outlined the process, she did say that what happens to the report and what influence it has on parliamentary processes going forward will depend on a voting by a simple majority on the 6th of December. So that's what can be expected. I doubt that even because remember, in order to have an outcome from the chamber that is not as preferred by the ANC elite, you need a faction of the ANC to vote with the opposition. I doubt that in their calculations they can make such a decision at this stage, so close to an ANC conference.
Do you think that the president is going back on his word? He's always said if there was any hint of corruption attached to his name, he would simply walk away. And indeed, it seemed that those were his first instincts last Thursday. Or do you think that he's doing a principled thing and saying, listen, whatever may have gone wrong on the farm, I'm not accused of stealing government money, therefore I'm staying to fight?
The fact of the matter, Sally, is that the president's campaign for re-election is linked to a power network of individuals from national all the way to provinces and regions of the ANC. And him resigning last week would not have implications only for him, but for his entire camp, who would have little time to recover from such a move. So I think that beyond questions of principle, it's a matter of political survival for his camp that he is now undertaking the course of direction, the course that he's taking. The review could be done even outside of parliament. And the thing is with President Cyril Ramaphosa, as somebody who has positioned himself as an ethical leader with credibility, and also made the kinds of battles at a party and state level that have resulted in people being recalled or being forced to step aside as a result of being found wanting on legal grounds. He wouldn't be somebody who's comfortable being in the same position. And in fact, it wouldn't be strategic for his political project to do that himself. The ideal situation would be for one in which he pulls out of, so that he doesn't further embroil the office of the president in further scandal while trying to become a political champion for institutions like the NPA and others that need to continue to do their work to pursue some of the, political bigwigs in the country. So that he pulled back from an intention to resign as reported. to push this line, which is, you know, similar to the tactics that former President Jacob Zuma used, you know, remaining in office, is paying no regard to the fact that the office is embroiled in scandal, continuing willy-nilly as long as one had political backing. It's not a desirable state of affairs. And I think I long for a day in South Africa where, at the slightest impression of a scandal, a politician falls on their sword, just like it happens in other countries.
Thank you so much for chatting to us this evening. That, of course, is political analyst Ongama Mtimka. Let's check